Adoption? No, just the Vigilante care program. By orphan account, on AO3. Episode 8. Chapter 8. Was Shouta nervous? Of course not. That was what he was trying to convince himself. His son should be more nervous than him. For whatever strange reason, the green-haired boy seemed relatively at ease. If there was one thing Hizashi and Shouta were good at, it was understanding when Midoriya was nervous. However, the kid wasn't fidgeting or mumbling or drawing shapes or words into his palm. He was staring out the window as they came closer and closer to UA. It was Hizashi who finally asked Midoriya if he wanted to visit for a class. Shouta had been wanting his students to meet Midoriya for months. When they first told him, he declined the offer, rambling about how he was an illegal vigilante and shouldn't meet a class of future heroes. Finally, after a few weeks of contemplating, Midoriya agreed to meet 2A. Shouta would be lying if he said he wasn't excited to see a bunch of his students get their ass handed to them. A lot of them stood on very high pedestals due to their quirk's power. That is why Midoriya fought them, and it was a perfect lesson for his class. Unfortunately, the boy refused to visit as Izuku Midoriya. Shouta had asked him to come as a civilian instead of risking his status of Vigilantism. Midoriya downright refused, demanding he would be allowed to be in his mask and black suit. So, as they pulled up to the front gates, they made their way to Gym Gamba, where the 2A course was going to be in a matter of minutes. People were definitely staring. Nobody seemed to recognize him, not that they should be able to. Shouta then waited for Midoriya. As soon as he heard the loud shouts of his class, Midoriya stiffened, ever so slightly. He walked all 20 of the UA Heroes Course 2A class. They all stared Midoriya down, but didn't say anything. Shouta cleared his throat, and the class went silent. Everyone, this is someone who I work closely with. He's going to spar with you guys. The class's eyes lit up. As much as they loved fighting one another, fighting with someone new was very exciting. Alright, this will be a very simple sparring exercise. Your goal is to pin your opponent down. Once the opponent has been pinned, the spar is over. If neither person is pinned down after 10 minutes, it will be called a draw. The class nodded, their heads excitedly. One more thing. You're gonna fight Quirkless. A lot of the students froze. Most had never imagined of fighting Quirkless before. Mina was the one to speak. Shouta knew he had decent hand-to-hand combat, so it surprised him. Sensei? Why do we have to fight Quirkless? You should always be able to fight without a quirk. Midoriya says. There's a lot of quirks which can prevent you from using your own, like Aizawa's. Or you might have quirk suppressor cuffs on if you're being kidnapped. A few people, not so steadily, glanced at Bakugou. Shouta nodded. We spent a lot of the first year developing your quirks to make them stronger. This year we want to spend more time making sure you can have better hand-to-hand combat without the help of your quirk. Some of you are very good at combat but dependent on your quirks. Shouta didn't want to point out any names. Turns out he didn't have to. Midoriya offered his own opinion. Like Kirishima and Ojiro, you two are close combat fighters and know hand-to-hand combat, but you use your quirks a lot. The two fidgeted at being called out. Shouta went over to pull names out for the order they will fight Midoriya. Ida, Mina, Kaminari, Bakugou, Sato, Todoroki, Ojiro, Ashio, Hakaguri, Koda, Kirishima, Yarurozu, Sero, Mineta, Shoji, Aoyama, Uraraka, Jiro, Tokoyami, and finally, Shinzo. It was rather amusing to watch as Midoriya eyed his first opponent. No doubt the boy was analyzing Ida and trying to pick out what style of combat he may use. Although Midoriya really didn't need to, Shouta saw his notebook. Midoriya broke down each and every one of the students in Class 2A. Frankly, they truly wouldn't stand a chance. Sensei, sir. Yes, Ida? Who is this person we are fighting? For a minute, Shouta genuinely thought Ida hadn't been paying attention, but Midoriya spoke. Does it really matter who I am? When you're fighting villains, you normally don't know who they are. It's best to try and have similar situations so you adjust to it. If you always know everything about your opponent, the moment you don't know anything, you'll die. You guys should know this firsthand of all your incidents with villains in your first year. There were many things Midoriya failed to tell Hizashi and himself. He never talked about his friends from middle school, or asked to meet with them once he was in a safe home. He never again talked about this Kachan person who Shouta heard him mumbling about. He had made assumptions it was a friend, and due to how closely Midoriya was watching UA, it was safe to assume it was someone in either 2A or 2B, which was why Midoriya spoke, Shouta picking up on the moment of confusion in Bakugou's face. I suppose not, sir. Shouta came back to reality as Ida answers Midoriya. There was still a lot of looks of uncertainty for many people in the class as they glanced Midoriya up and down. The teenager wasn't tall, and he wasn't overly muscular either. Shouta was sure everyone was trying to figure out why he was good enough to spar with them. Midoriya seemed to pick up on their confusion and worry about the fight. But don't worry if you get uncomfortable at any time or you get hurt, you can tap out. Make a fist with your hand and hit the ground 3 times. That's my signal for tapping out. So if we could use that today, it would be great. When you hit your fist 3 times, your partner has to stop the fight immediately. Bakugou scoffed. Only a wimp taps out. A real hero doesn't give up. Then he turns his glare from Midoriya to Todoroki. Or half-ass everything they do. The teen, as per usual, did nothing to respond to Bakugou's taunts. It's not a sign of weakness to tap out. Midoriya says, with a velocity Shouta hadn't heard before. Crap. Midoriya was pissed. I've learned that the hard way, and trust me, it wasn't fun. If you are uncomfortable or in pain, you tap out. There is no point in hurting yourselves to win a fight. You don't have to. You can't be a hero if you run away like a baby every fight. Besides, Recovery Girl will patch us up quickly anyways. What if Recovery Girl isn't here? Don't you realize how privileged you are to have someone who can immediately heal your wounds? Broken ribs hurt like hell. Don't even get me started on stab wounds. If you, for any reason, don't want to fight any longer, you will tap out. If people haven't been wary of Midoriya now, they were. His eyes seemed to peer into Bakugou's head, and then destroy him. Bakugou gave a long sigh and didn't bother fighting any further on the issue. With that, Shouta motioned to Ida. The blue-haired boy made his way over to the middle of the gym. Midoriya followed from behind. I look forward to our fight, Ida said with his usual enthusiasm. Midoriya's eyes crinkled. Shouta knew for a fact that Midoriya had a small smile. Good luck. Midoriya and Ida standed a few feet apart and waited for the go from Shouta. Once approved, the two launched into battle. Ida had always used his legs to fight and continued to do so. Midoriya was on the defensive as Ida laid kick after kick. Most dodged and a few blocked. Everyone can tell that Ida looked in a better position. Then they watched as Midoriya jumped and grabbed Ida's shoulder with his hands to vault him over the boy. Once the green-haired boy landed, he made a motion similar to the karate chop on the left of Ida's neck. As soon as he made contact with Ida's neck, he somewhat falls slowly to the ground. Midoriya quickly clambers on top of him, and then he's pinned. That was fun, Midoriya says with a cheeky smile as he gets off Ida. To say the class was all staring with their mouths open would be exactly correct. How did you do that? Uraraka asks with awe as Midoriya brings Ida to his feet. It's called the vagus nerve. It runs from... Midoriya pointed to his heart. Your heart, all the way to your left ear canal. When you hit it hard enough, you can make a person pass out. He gestures to an area of the neck. This is the best area to try and hit the nerve. You might totally miss the nerve, though. It's like a 50-50 chance when I do it. When you hit the nerve, not too hard or they will pass out, it'll make your opponent really dizzy, which is why Ida fell. Safe to say a few people were nervous as Midoriya smiled brightly at the class. Who is next? Mina steps forward as Ida, who is still disoriented, goes to join his class. Once Shouta gives the go-ahead, the two students jump into the fight. It made obvious very eerily that Mina knows what she's doing. She dodges and blocks Midoriya quite well. Unlike the last fight, where it appeared that Midoriya was overwhelmed, it was the other way around. Mina was dealing with punches and kicks, left and right, and center. It wasn't too much longer before Midoriya swept her feet from under her, and she landed with a very loud umph. Once more, Midoriya worked at record speed to pin her arms behind her. He holds her like that for 10 seconds before releasing. This time, Midoriya's opponent is able to get up immediately afterwards, which causes a slight relief for Shouta. Dude, that was awesome. Kirishima praises Midoriya, who Shouta is confident is blushing at the praise. You took Mina down just like that. He didn't take me down. It was kind of lucky, Mina insisted. She smiles at Midoriya, though. Next time, I'll beat ya. Looking forward to it. Next is Kaminari, and Shouta already knows how this is going to go down. Kaminari, while knowing the basics, is very quirk-dependent, which is why the fight ends in 2 minutes. Shouta isn't particularly surprised. Then Bakugou laughs and steps forward. My turn, you damn extras. Time to show you guys what a real fight looks like. He smiles cruelly at Midoriya. I'll crush you to a pulp. Shouta notices as Kirishima winces slightly at the words. Why is he so mean? The boy complains quietly to his friends. It's in his blood. Have you seen his mother? She's like twice as scary. Kaminari responds, laughing tightly. Sarah nods his head in agreement. Better than last year, though. Remember when he kept telling us all to die? That got a few solemn nods. He's still an asshole, Mina whispers, but he's an asshole who sometimes is nice. That causes a loud laugh from Kaminari, and Shouta glares silence. Bakugou Katsuki, Midoriya says, evaluating him as Bakugou enters the middle of the gymnasium. He gets a simple growl in response. Don't forget, Midoriya says cheekily. If you ever get overwhelmed, you could always tap out. Bakugou downright screams in inhalation. I'm so gonna kill you. Damn, I spoke so soon. Sarah whispers in defeat as Bakugou charges at Midoriya. Shouta didn't even say they could begin fighting. He doesn't miss Kirishima's alongside Bakugou's threats. The poor kid, at this rate, Hizashi might lose on his bet. In a hurry to be gay, I kind of forgot to mention, Hizashi making bets on love lives and stuff like that is so fucking funny. It appears in Fluffy Mind. Hold up. I have a whole chapter named after it, I think. I'm opening up my notes for fanfictions. Writing notes. Fluffy Mind page, going down. No. Put characters back up. Character blocking home. Can I call him that? Secret love child. Aizawa. First. Bets. Here it is. Bets. Yep. They all bet on when they would start dating. Hitoshi and Izuku. Aizawa bets that in a year. Hizashi bets in 2 years. Midnight's like the first year of high school. And Tensei is like, yeah, no, they're not finding it. They're not confessing to like their 3rd year. Right? And then they bet on who's gonna confess first. Aizawa and Hizashi bet that Hitoshi's gonna, and Tensei, that Hitoshi's gonna be the one who does it. And Midnight is like, nah, it's gonna be Izuku. And the one who realizes their feelings first, Aizawa and Tensei agree that it's gonna be Izuku, while Hizashi and Midnight think it's gonna be Hitoshi. I'm not gonna say who is correct in their bets or not, but that chapter is gonna be so fun when it happens. When I have to write it. It is such a fun chapter. A lot of these chapters in fanfiction notes, not fanfiction notes, in Fluffy Mind, I'm gonna have to combine. So, like, for example, bets, the second one, chapter 70 and chapter 71 is probably gonna be combined into 2. In this one, they make a bet on who would propose, right? Aizawa and Tensei agree that it would be Izuku. Hizashi and Midnight think it's Hitoshi. And then when they would propose, Aizawa says it's going to be when they're 21, Hizashi says it's when they're 18, Midnight says it's when they're 23, and Tensei says it's when they're 25. Who ends up being right? Hold up, I gotta check. Who ends up being my 20? Okay, hold up. Who ends up being right? I'm checking. Oh my god, I think I remember who I made be right a lot of the time, and I find that hilarious. Okay, but the betting thing is such a fun thing. I'm guessing Hizashi bet that Kirishima and Bakugou would end up together. And judging by the fact that Hizashi is continuously saying, like, dude, they're running me out of my money. That's not gonna happen. I don't know what these ships are. Wait, hold up. What are the ships in this fic? I actually don't remember. I don't think Shindeku was here. I would remember. I miss Shindeku. Where's my Shindeku? I need more Shindeku. Shindaku! Woo-woo! Shindaku! Woo! I need you! Woo! Also, does it just end with them fighting like this? It makes no sense. Is it uncompleted? It would make sense for it to be uncompleted. Ugh! What did I just do to myself? No, actually, genuinely, like 100%, what the fuck did I just do to myself? Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.